don't have to eat like slaves anymore because we're not slaves.
If you cannot control what you eat, then you cannot control what you feel.
Eat your largest meals in the middle of the day, not the end of the day.
What part the homeostasis plays, you're on your way to healing yourself. The homeostasis is the internal environment where your body is at its ultimate functionality for healing. Just keep in mind that everything that is happening to you is happening for you.
Right. Hey, Barry. It's that time. And thank you very much for being here, everybody. And you are on the one and only Mind of Nature. Welcome, everybody from Facebook and YouTube Live, along with those beautiful people over here on Instagram. We're going to have a great time. We have the wonderful Carolyn Gentle with us today. As always, we're going to bring to you some really wonderful discoveries. And the main discovery we'll talk about today is the discovery of yourself. And that's going to be wonderful. Carolyn, welcome and good morning to you.
Good morning. Good morning. Happy Saturday.
Yes,
Happy
it's
December.
Yeah, the holidays and everything in place. We're still doing it. We're coming up on another year. This is something that's really, really positive. We're really bringing the information that people want to hear. And I'm really happy about that. We're going to talk about some really important things today. Last week is gone, but last week we really turned it on. And I am looking forward to the survival mode eating. You know, are you still in the survival mode? I mean, really? Are you really still in that mode? Well, a lot of us are, and we're going to speak to that. But before we go and speak to that, we're going to let Carolyn break it down to you and tell you what you should be doing while we're listening.
Absolutely. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today here in the Mind of Nature with Dr. Zarif, the nutritionist. Today's topic is, are you still eating in survival mode? If you can all share the live out so we can have others be a part of the conversation. Let's say we can share with at least 5 people. We can share at least 5 people, then they'll be able to be a part of the conversation as well. And if you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. We would love to have you as a member or subscriber.
Yeah, we want to have all of that. There you go. Yeah.
Yes.
We want you to like us, subscribe to us, you know, and those comments are super important, right, Carolyn?
They are.
Making sure that they, you know, like, we want to hear from you. And today, if you like to come up, all you have to do is send us a message in the comments, and then we'll make sure that you come up here too. But the main thing.
My apologies. Oh, I was just going to say, and I'm going to actually drop that link in the chat for anyone that would like to come in as well.
Okay, beautiful. So, you know, everybody, let's kick back and relax. We'll get our breath. And we're going to talk about some of the things that we should know about here. Okay, we're Instagram. We are on now. We are on the air, and welcome to the Mind of Nature. We just did our introduction, but we're going to definitely now put all this stuff together. Sometimes, you know, the technicalities can challenge us, but we're going to have a great time. Look, we want everybody, as Carolyn said, share. I really got a good feeling about this. This is going to be a really great time to share and really get the message out. What's different in us than in a lot of information that you've heard is that we really are talking with a mission in place, right? We have this mission that we want to increase the knowledge in the Black community about nutrition. This is super important to us. This isn't just for entertainment. We want to get in the mind of nature so we can share it with each and every one of us here today, 8 a.m. I know it's early, but this really shows that you have great discipline and commitment, and we really thank you for that. Carolyn, what's new for you?
What's new for me? Just getting ready for the holiday, Christmas holiday, I guess. I don't know, trying to, or seeing what I want to get for certain people, just little things like that, preparing for the holiday. How about yourself?
Well, everything is beautiful. I'm really happy to be here. Working on nutrition literacy is a beautiful thing, and we've been taught so all throughout the years, this crazy stuff, like you go about 10, 15, 20, 25 years, and the only thing that is vitamin C is in orange juice. That is a really sad testament to where we need to be. So we have rolled up our sleeves. For those of you that's just joining us, we've rolled up our sleeves, and they're still up to share with you the kind of information that will help you to soar when it comes to learning more about yourself. The biggest problem that we have, Carolyn, is what? We are not taking care of ourselves because we have been so brainwashed that it takes us away from the attention to ourselves. That's why self-care is so very important. We have to take care of ourselves in order for us to minimize or to reduce the effects of illness and disease and death itself. So let's really give your ears with undivided attention here so that we can get the message out to you. Now, it's going to be hard for some of you because some of you can't stay still long enough to hear what we're talking about, and that's unfortunate. But we want to keep you focused on what we're talking about. And it's going to be the TV. Somebody, you're going to be looking at your cell. Some of you sweating right now because you're like, oh shit, he didn't say anything that I want to hear yet. And you only been here for a few minutes. So look, we understand that. And it's going to take some time for many of you to just get used to having the discipline to sit still and to listen. Some of you want to multitask and think you're going to get it. You're not going to get it like that. Give me your undivided attention. And sometimes there'd be a interruption, but let that interruption be brief. I'm just setting the scale so that we can give you the best that we got. And we really put a lot into it. We can't wait after the show is over. We're talking already about what we're going to do on the next one because we really want you to get where we're coming from. So we're going to talk about, are you still in that survival mode? And that's where most of us are eating. We're eating from that survival mode, and we want to change that. And how do we change it? We change it simply by, one of the things is by taking care of or prioritizing ourselves as the most important person on the planet. We got to get that through our heads so that we'll be more effective when it comes to doing the things that will keep us healthy. So before we go into, we want to say good morning to Eric Smart. Good morning, Eric. It's great to see you, my brother. We are over here. We have a lady, Fanny B. Thank you very much, Lady Fanny B, for being here. We're going to know that we'll be building. Don't get discouraged, and besides, just remember that you're going to get the same knowledge if there's 2 people here or 2 million people, you're going to get the same knowledge. So we're going to keep on going forward. Okay. So let's go ahead. Let's get started. And again, be still, know that, be open to learning. And this is how we make things really work. I don't want to discount when I start off this whole talk about survival mode. Survival mode means that we're eating in a way that doesn't serve our bodies. We're eating in a way that just answers our hunger. So the average person, for instance, could probably recite the whole recipe for healthy eating. That healthy eating, like if I said, recite the recipe, people will say more fruit, more vegetables, whole grains, less red meat. They'll also say less processed foods. Now, it sounds simple enough, but yet the Americans still struggle. And why are we still struggling with eating correctly? Most of the world are struggling about having something to eat, period. But we're struggling about what should we eat and how should we prepare it. And usually we overdo it. Here's some statistics for you. The heart disease remains the leading cause of death. And obesity rates have grown from 30.5% in 2000 to 42.4% in 2018, just a couple of years ago. Now, adopting this healthy diet can help us to combat both of these. But only an estimated 22% of Americans follow the American Heart Association's dietary recommendations. Why? We're leading in deaths and disease from heart problems. However, we continue doing it. So that tells us something, that we are not disciplined enough. And it's not about, some people say you just don't love yourself enough. Well, part of that is true. Learning that, what you put into your mouth, what you're eating, what you're ingesting should be a part of us being healthier. And this is one of those things you got to kind of sell, it's like, come on, wake up. People wake up to, what we do. We're so used to listening to BS, the stuff, those commercials, like if I was talking about who cheated on who and who did this behind their doors and if this person what's their sexual preference, all of that stuff. Ooh, we got people, it's fire. But when we say, let's talk about you, it's like, oh, I ain't got time for that right now. I get back with y'all later. Get used to having the discipline to listen. I grant you that you'll be glad that you did. Some of the tools that we have today aren't some of the tools that we had yesterday. And that's why we are in this survival mode. This survival mode started from slavery. And not only that, I want to say even pre-slavery, because many of us were, and when I say us, I'm talking about Africans, the Africans that were brought here from Africa were hunting for their meals on a daily basis. On a daily basis, that's the way it was done. And that's the way it was done for years. Now, today, we don't have to go and hunt for a meal, except we're still eating like we are hunting for a meal. And we're eating foods that do not allow or do not give us any nutrients. People aren't dying or getting sick from bad food. They're dying and getting sick from malnutrition. And malnutrition just simply means that the food doesn't have any energy in it. It doesn't have those enzymes, those particles that we need to break down, such as the macronutrients, the micronutrients, and the macronutrients would be like your carbohydrates, your fats. It would be like your sugar, your foods that are protein. Those are macro. But when we get to micro, we're talking about vitamins and we're talking about minerals and other phytochemicals and polyphenols. Some of the things that we used to eat, like this has been all the way back to the time of slavery. And for some reason, we still eat these things, but the smell of coffee and the smell of bacon and the smell of ribs and the smell, most of our hunger is satisfied through the smell, but then we start to eat, and that is the other part of it. But a coffee is a much loved staple that we are used to drinking, and this is something that we've gotten used to over all the years. The word coffee actually comes from the word kafa. And it is believed that the slaves from Ethiopia first introduced it. So it's been around a long time. Another staple at that time is called kala cake. Now, the kala cake is known to be a sweet tasting rice cake. And these are some of the foods that we ate as African slaves. And it was often served with the morning cafe. And the cafe was Cafe Arlata. I think that's how you say it. So it was sold by Black women in the French Quarter of New Orleans. In the state of Georgia, the sweetened rice cake was called Saraka. And Saraka is the same thing as the Kala cake. Then we had also things like the cow peas and the black eyed peas. Now, cow peas and black eyed peas, they became a well-known dish from the southern parts of the United States by white and black folks. The food traveled with the slaves across the country on the ship. So these are some of the foods that were brought to feed the slaves while the slaves were on the ships. Now, a lot of the slaves did not eat the food. They had to force them, to the point that some slaves actually had they would keep their mouth shut. They would restrain the slave and take the butt of a gun and knock the teeth out and force it down, like as in a funnel, so that those slaves would eat the food. There's another cake is called fufu, and fufu is a delicious cake which was made from a mixture of cornmeal and flour, and you pour it into hot boiling water. Now, Africans then made hot cakes. People who work with, you call hot cakes pancakes now. People who worked in the fields referred to the hot cakes as ash cakes. Then there's something that's been around a long time, and it continues to be pretty popular, especially in the southern dishes, and those are hominy grits. Now, the slaves took the hominy, which is Indian corn, by the way, and they made grits. The dish was similar to iba, which was prepared in Africa. Then you have the Guinea corn. Now, if you've heard of Guinea corn before, you know that it was known as also today the same thing, sorghum. Guinea corn is also known as millet. And these are some of the grains that are used to make veggie burgers. They're used to make different meals, breads, so forth. You also have Gungar cake. Now, the Gungar cake is a gingerbread tasting like cake. It's not actually the gingerbread, but it has ginger in it. The cake was originated in the Congos. All of these come from Africa. These are dishes that came from Africa, and we continue to eat those today. The Congos, and this is, of course, Congos in Africa, was cooked and prepared by enslaved Africans on the plantations. There's a lot of the jambalaya, for instance, like jambalaya. A lot of us know jambalaya, which was called Bantu Shimbole Bole. Bantu Shimbole Bole in African language is a dish of tender cooked corn. Now, African influence dish that is quite similar to gumbo. Jambalaya is very similar to gumbo. This is a dish that still is popular in many parts of New Orleans. And it brought the Louisiana, it was brought to Louisiana by the Africans during that time. So you see how all of these dishes that we have today, many of these dishes like juba and meluva and millet bread and pone bread, even sesame, tania, watermelon, all of these had some kind of, like, a lot of people think that, you know, the watermelons come from the jungles or something. But the truth is that watermelon spread from the Sudan to Egypt during the second millennium, and it was now a well-known fruit throughout the world. And it was brought to the country, in this country, during the slave trade. So that was, all of these were different, that had the seeds and the plants and all of that. And some of those were used, of course, in Africa also. Now, when I say to you that, it's important to love yourself, and we're going to see if we can get you in here and get you out, everybody, because we're going to do like an hour of power. We said that last week and the week before that, and on and on. But we're going to really want to get it, because we want you to not only in our blackness be proud, not only because of the color of our skin, but we really have a rich history. We really have some really wonderful things about us that we don't even know. So let's see if we can get to know ourselves better. And this is super important. We got Black people that run away from being Black. That's no surprise. We got people that are in Uncle Ruckus's family, and they definitely represent well. So now we got to do the things that are healthy for ourselves. Welcome. We have Ively 8, I think that is. Welcome. It's very good to see you. And those people that are coming over in the other, make sure that you make a comment. Let us know where you're calling, where you're coming in from. Nurse Cheryl Lee, Gentle Smart, is in the house. Thank you so much for being here. Always, always great to see you. And we got people coming in. Hey, Saints House of Design is here. All right, that's my people right there. Saints, welcome. And let us know where you come from. Detroit, Cincinnati, New York, Africa, India. Where in India you just been up for about a couple hours, but come on. Let us know where you're coming from. Let's get back to the self and how we know ourselves, everybody. Knowing yourself doesn't mean like that general, just got to love yourself and just hang in there and, really rooting for you. Okay. All right. Sometimes we hear that so much that it kind of goes right over our head. Confidence. We had a whole show on confidence, right? And the confidence, the lack of that confidence. And now we want to build up that confidence. We want to have more confidence, because that's what makes it very important to each one of us to get things done for ourselves. And we have powerful people that can help us. I don't know why a lot of people negate ourselves consistently as we continue to kind of fall through the these different traps of distraction. But again, I'm going to say this all the way through today, is when you find yourself being distracted, get your mind right back on you. What should you do to know more about yourself? Now, I wrote them down, 1 through whatever we end up at. First of all, the first thing is that, what are your strengths? Know what are your strengths. Why do we even talk about this? Is because when we talk about loving yourself, it only makes sense to eat in a way that you're not just throwing junk in your body. Can we all agree on that? We do not have to just throw anything in the body. And then we do it even with some of the gut problems that we have. Guess what? We keep on eating that way. And then we wait for the next thing trending. Guess what? Super seaweed is out. And then we go and buy up super seaweed like it's a panacea. And then we eat that. And then we wait for the next thing to come out. Some people still waiting for the next exercise craze to come out. They ain't worked out since Billy Blanks was doing Taekwondo. So we got to really change this whole thing around if it is that you want to be healthy and your health is really about you. Now, we're getting more and more people to listen, but we're still fighting against the wind. and we don't have the wind to our backs yet, but that's okay. That wind to our face will make us stronger as we go, because in order for us to be a strong nation, we have to be strong people. We can't be a strong nation and be sick people. Now, some people think just because they put on a wig or some makeup or some new clothes or drive a new car, all of those things will make it better. But those are material things. We need to be higher in thought. We need to be higher in the things that we want to accomplish. So make sure that as you're listening, we're doing things that will get you to pay more attention to yourself. So what are your strengths? Write in the comments your strengths if you'd like to share with us. But we want to know, these are the things that you should know about yourself. What are you really strong at? What are your deal breakers, and what are your game changers? What are your deal breakers and what are your game changers? We all have boundaries, and we should know about our boundaries, making sure that we are doing those things that will give us the most out of life. Stop lying to yourself. Yeah, I'm going to lose these pounds. I need to get on the treadmill. I'm going to go work out. I'm going to eat better. I'm going to stop talking and just do it. Just do it. You know, your best example of your word is doing it. And many of us don't do it because, you know, you ain't going to tell me what to do. We're just stuck in that. It's just some people actually won't take care of themselves because they've been told to take care of themselves. So what we have is this rebuttal type personality. And we have a lot of people that do that. They don't even listen to the whole situation before they object to it. Number two, what are your short-term goals and what's your long-term goals? You should know, don't let any day catch you without a project. Super important. Don't let any day catch you without a project. Number three, who matters most to you? You know, who are your support people? This is so super important. If you think you can do it by yourself, you are sadly mistaken. If you think you can do it by yourself, you're sadly mistaken. This is super important to involve people in your life. If it's a cousin, if it's your wife, if it's your husband, if it's your friends, somebody, you need a team in order to help you. Assign something to people. The people that care about you don't mind, but you just got to get the right people in your circle. Number three, who matters? We already said that, who matters most to me. That's number three. Number four, what am I ashamed of? Most people, because they have this kind of pressure, this peer pressure, they won't do things because they're worried about what a person is going to say, how people are going to look at them, if they're going to say or agree with them. Nobody likes rejection, but guess what? You have a lot of people that are still, even in adulthood, afraid of that rejection. Sometimes it's best to embrace that rejection. Okay. So as we continue to go on, I want to say hello to my beautiful daughter. Sweetheart, welcome. It's great to see you this morning. All the way from Atlanta, Georgia, Amira Sabrine is in the house. Simpson, she's married, so her name has changed, but she's definitely from the Zarif tribe. Then we have Dr. Cher is here. Dr. Cher, Stephan is here all the way from Maui. Wow, Hawaii. Thank you for being here. We got Gerald Williams in the house all the way from Detroit. Hey, what is going on? It's great to see you, Gerald. Malia Iana Jones. Oh man, this is a girl that I really I could call her a girl. She's definitely fully a woman. But thank you very much for being here. Much love to you. Just a really wonderful, wonderful, wonderful person. Andre Brown, little brother, is here all the way from Detroit. Hey, brother, thank you for being here, man. Love you. I love you. I love you. We're going to keep on moving here. We got a lot of Detroiters here today, but we're also represented in Atlanta and New York, Maui, we got everybody's coming in. So thank you very much for being here. Let's go back to talking about the most important person in the world. And the most important person in the world is you. Again, keep this in mind. We have so many people today that have contemplated hurting themselves, harming themselves because something has gone awry in their life and they've been abandoned, or they should know that you're there for them. Get your support group together. Find out ways to make time for shows like this where you can find or listen to something that lifts up that spirit. Stop going back and forth. Yeah, you heard P Diddy did this, and did you hear about that stuff like that? It's going to be around forever, and people love it because they get a chance to look at somebody else's mistake, and they get a chance to see how these people squirm in those mistakes, and that's really, really difficult to keep your mind on you, because once you get in that situation where you're not paying attention to yourself, that's going to be very, very difficult for you to take care of yourself. Some of the other things that you do, and by the way, again, when you can, please share. So as we continue going on, because some people after 2 minutes, that's it for them. I wonder what you would do if you went to a play or something like that. So it's really, we got a lot of work to do. What new activities am I interested in, and what am I willing to experience? All of these things you should know about yourself. Where do I feel safest? What and who gives me comfort? Who are you around? You ever been around a person and they're so wonderful that you feel like you can do anything when they're around? They just give you that's a great energy. You just feel like, ooh, I can conquer the world. Well, there's some people like that. And so you should have those people surrounding you. You're probably going to only find one. You're lucky if you find more than that. But that's why it's good to be around support groups too, because you may just find the people with the kind of energy, that kind of vibration. And that's what makes you a person that pays more attention to you, because they uplift that importance of yourself. Let's continue. We're talking about, are you still in your survival mode today? And this is really important because a lot of us find ourselves not identifying with greatness. Some of the things that understanding about what we understand now are a few things. Let's go over these things so that you will get a good understanding again. First, let's start off with amino acids. Now, amino acids is methionine. We have lysine, and we have valine, and we have phenylalanine, we have tryptophan, isoleucine. We have many of these. These are the essential amino acids that make up proteins. They're called the building blocks. And that's what we have. When protein is broken down, we then have amino acids. But from the extrapolation of these same nutrients from food, we also build proteins. And this helps the body produce the amino acids, and the body absorbs these amino acids through the small intestine called the duodenum. And also some people call it the duodenum. Now, the small intestine, then it moves through the small intestines to the blood, and the blood carries it throughout the body. So that's your amino acids. I'm going to just shoot through this. I won't spend a whole lot of time on it. Next, blood glucose. Now, you should know your blood glucose, because we should be testing our blood glucose should be as far as a normal or common number or a healthy level is from 70 to 100. That's where you should be with your blood glucose. It's also called blood sugar. and this the main sugar that's found in the blood and the main source of energy for our body. So that's where we get our energy from. Okay, now how about calories? Now, calories, we've heard that in people, calories, calories, calories. Well, the thing about that you can remember calories are units of heat and energy. And that's what we get from calories. And that's why it's important. When you eat calories, you have a lot to do. The calories is your fuel. So the fuel is important, and the fuel is converted to energy. That gives you that spunk to get things done. When you're not eating correctly, for instance, you're eating a lot of sugary foods, well, that will give you a little boost for a second, but by the time you secrete all of that insulin, you're going to bring your sugar levels way down. They call it sugar blues, and you end up so tired that you can't even move, and you're just so lethargic through the day. However, when you eat small amounts of sugar or these carbohydrates, this will really help you manage your health. It'll help you manage your energy, and that's what's really important. The carbohydrates, the fats, the proteins, and alcohol in the foods and drinks we eat provide food, energy, and calories. Yeah, even alcohol. Alcohol gives you seven calories per unit. So it's really important that we know this. We have we get different amounts of energy from protein. Gives us a lot of calories, and then we have carbohydrates again, which is the best way to get energy. Carbohydrates. We do get energy from fats and protein and alcohol, but the best source is carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are one of the main types of nutrients. Your digestive system changes carbohydrates into the blood sugar that we're talking about. Now, your body uses this sugar for energy for your cells, your tissues, and your organs. It stores an extra sugar. It stores the extra sugar in your liver and in the muscles. That's why sometimes when people are running and they run out of energy, and then they say you got a second wind. Well, now they're talking about using those stores, those sugar stores in your liver and in your muscles when it's needed. Now, there are two types of carbohydrates. There are simple carbohydrates and there are complex carbohydrates. Simple carbohydrates include natural and added sugars. Complex carbohydrates include whole grain breads, cereals, starchy vegetables, and beans, legumes. Okay, so these are some of the things that we should know. And if you don't know, remember, play this back so you can hear it so that you get used to it. Jadawa 330 is in the house. Thank you so much for being here. We also have Eclipse Soleil is here. Thank you very much for being here. Remember, leave where you are coming in from so that we'll be able to share that with everybody. At this point, if there's any kind of question that you have to ask, please write it in the comments. We're going to keep on going, but I'm going to bring the lovely Carolyn Gento up right now to make sure that right now Carolyn is the dais all in one. So those things that you may have, any questions that you have in mind right now that you think other individuals, and remember, you can ask your own questions to everybody. So please participate, and we'll really appreciate that. But Carolyn, this is your moment, so you can do whatever you like to do with it.
Okay. Well, I would ask you a question.
Okay.
What do you say to someone who says that they eat unhealthy because that's all they have available to them or around them?
I would say to that person, now we're talking about more than hunger. Now we're talking about starving. So if a person is starving and the person doesn't have an assortment of food, then that's different. When a person is starving, we need to change that. Your question is, what should they
Yes. So, for example, you have some people that may say, okay, I live in an area where um, it's considered food deserts, right? Or stores that may not carry the healthiest foods. So that would be the reason why they don't eat healthy, is because it's not available to them or in their area. So, what would you say to someone that says, I can't eat healthy because it's not in my area? I don't have it.
I would say be more adventurous and be more inventive. Use more imagination, and get the different ideas or places where there are farmers markets. For years, when I was a little guy, I used to bring my family food home from the uh, what's that place? The market downtown in Detroit, Central Market, or somebody write it in there for me. What's the place right on Gratiot Boulevard? But I used to go to that market, and I would stay there, and I would get paid. I would help people bring Eastern Market. Thank you, little bro. Yeah, Eastern Market. That Eastern Market is, thank you, Doc. Eastern Market had, I would work there all day, and then I would take food home at the end of that day, because I was using, I know I could work. And then now when I was working, I would get paid for that work, piling everything up, lifting and all that stuff. Real young guy. I was still in, I think, junior high school or middle school, as it's called today. But I was still in middle school, and I would not only get healthy food for myself, but for my family. Um, Today, they even have food farmers markets, but they also have what I call food banks. Now, food bank is where you get in line, and you they have different rules wherever you go, like mostly like in churches or schools or other organizations. I've worked that too, and I've volunteered and worked that. It's a great feeling, by the way, giving people this huge amount of food that's going to last them a week, especially with a family. But it really helps to cut down on the expenses. So yeah, be more inventive. Go where the food is. We throw away 1/4, or that's 1/4. If you have 4 bags of groceries coming out of the supermarket, if you just threw 1 bag away, that would be how much food we waste on average here in America, because we waste more food than we need to waste. So I hope that answered the question. Anything else, Carolyn?
What was your question? I'm sorry.
Oh, I said anything else? Anything else on your mind?
No, not at this time. That was pretty much it. I was writing my notes down. So that was it. I mean, that's a great answer too, because I think people tend to use that as an example, or excuse me, as an excuse to not eat in a certain way. I remember seeing the movie, what is it called? The documentary, They're Trying to Kill Us.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it was done well. But that was one of the excuses that was used in the movie, as far as food deserts, and that was the reason why people say, well, I can't eat healthy because it's not in the neighborhood. So again, like you said, being adventurous, you kind of have to go out and get it. It's not going to just be there for you. So that's the reason why I asked that question too. So thank you.
Oh yeah, by all means. Before we go, why don't you reset us, and then we'll go ahead and we'll keep it on. We'll keep it going.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you to everyone that's joined us today here in the Mind of Nature, hosted by Dr. Zarif, the nutritionist. Today's topic is, are you still eating in survival mode? Thank you so much for everyone that's joined us today. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. We would love to have you be a subscriber on the YouTube channel and share the live with about 5 people. If you share the live, we can have them come in and be a part of the conversation. Thank you to everyone that's joined us today here in the Mind of Nature. Dr. Zarif, back to you.
All right. Thank you so much. I am definitely enjoying today's conversation. Um, I really want to go ahead and continue because I think, that you appreciate that as we go along. We stopped with the carbohydrates. Let's continue. Cholesterol is something that a lot of people we hear about, but do we really know what it is? So once we learn these things on and on, we want you to also put them in action because this is how you remember them. Use it some kind of ways, add it to your vocabulary. You don't, and this is a very important point. You don't have to understand everything that we're talking about. Everything that I say, some things may be over your head, or there might be things that you'll just understand clearly. But for those things that you're not familiar with, still embrace them because this will expand your scope. It will expand your understanding about any subject. So don't be afraid. Get it, and then just say, okay, I got to learn exactly what this is. Let's move on to cholesterol. Cholesterol is this waxy, fat-like substance that's found in all the cells of the body. Your body needs some cholesterol to make hormones. And those hormones, that if you have endocrine doctor, or you've heard of the different hormones that people go through as far as their moods, that in order for those hormones and the good hormones, even insulin is a hormone. We need cholesterol to make those hormones. We also need cholesterol for vitamin D and substances that help us to digest food, the different enzymes. All of that comes from cholesterol. So when people say things like, no, you shouldn't eat this or you shouldn't eat that, let's tell them, well, what is the dose that is acceptable? Because some people would just say, I remember I was on the show and a woman came on the show and said that calciferol was it was in rat poison, and she went on and on about don't use calciferol for any, don't eat it, and we were saying, well, why not? This is like something that people take, or if they're like different vitamins that may have something in it, and it might say, you might have read something that an animal or a lab animal or something died from. Look, that's going to happen, and that's part of us growing and evolving. And sometimes it involves the discontinuation, the expiration of a different animal. So like if there's a chipmunk or a monkey or whatever it is, sometimes that happens. You have to understand balance. Balance is super important because you can take that same thing. You can say that rat poison. I heard rat poison is in vitamin D. I heard rat poison is in calcium, or wherever they extrapolate this news from. And then they'll say that they'll find out later if they look at these different, for instance, sources. Now, a source is simple to, like the source that I just put up there for you. See that? This is a source. Much of what we're talking about today, these are some of the sources. And instead of just going by what somebody wrote on the internet, and you said, oh yeah, you see what it said on the internet? That's just like when we just had books and we didn't have this internet. And I found it in a book. Everything in the book, people print that stuff. And remember history, for those of us that had Black history, but the Black history that we were reading was written by white people. And these white people continued spreading this misinformation and disinformation. There's a difference about Black people. So we'll keep going. We're doing great. As we say every once in a while, we're having fun. Okay, so here we go. Let's go to I'll take this down to one of the things that we want you to do is to make sure that you subscribe. I want to go to dehydration next because we talk about that. All of these things are to get you out of that survival eating mode. The reason that you eat the way that you eat today is all habitual, which means that they're just habits. So you follow those habits on, and you do that same thing over and over, and then you don't expect heart disease. Come on. Heart disease is in many cases caused by those deleterious habits. And this is about you taking time to you need a strategy. You can't just get a strategy. What is your strategy? Whenever you're facing any hardship, what do you have to have? You have to have a strategy. A strategy is not just something that you're going to let just happen to you, but what is your strategy? If you're faced with any challenge, if you have a strategy, hope does not have a strategy. Try does not have a strategy. I wish does not have a strategy. You got to do things to get beyond hope. Instead of hoping, you should expect it. When you do the work, you can say, I expect it to be here at 3 because I did the work. I made the phone call. I made the appointment. I paid the bill. I'm expecting that to come through. But if you just said, I sure wish somebody send me, I sure wish, I sure hope, that's not a strategy. That's not a strategy. So with that understood, let's continue moving on here. Diet. Your diet is made up of what you eat and what you drink. And there are many types of diets, such as the vegetarian diets, or weight loss diets, the diets that people use for certain problems. These are what are called diets. Then you have dietary supplements. Dietary supplements are products that take that you can actually take a supplement. So it's just like taking a pill, but it's an addition to your food. So it makes it healthier. And most of the herbs and minerals and botanicals, all of that is a part of your dietary strategy. So digestion is next. And digestion is the process that the body uses to break down food into nutrients. So when you take food and you eat it, you want food that's going to be broken down to nutrients. So your food is broken down, and then it extrapolates as much as it can from those foods. If you're eating these refined foods and these overly processed foods and these foods that are packaged well, but they're terrible, like a pack of these different chips that you buy that are perfect, and they're not chips at all. Here's an example. If you get Jiffy, there's Jiffy blueberry mix. There's not one blueberry in there. Instead, if you read it, you'll find that the blueberries, or the so-called blueberries in that muffin mix, are actually bits of apples that are dry, just bits of apples, and then they're dyed in blue. It's like blue number 40 or whatever that number is, and we eat that. Those are refined foods. Another word that's thrown around a lot is electrolytes. Now, electrolytes are actually minerals, or also trace minerals, but they're the minerals in body fluids. So keep that in mind. Electrolytes, a good idea of electrolytes would be in the coconut water. That's a baby coconut, and it's in the water. So that water, if you drink that water, it has all these minerals that include sodium and potassium and magnesium and chloride. So when you're dehydrated, your body does not have enough fluid and electrolytes. Electrolytes are important. We'll get into that later on of how they interact with neurons, how the messages are. Like, I'm doing this right now. How am I doing this right now? Well, I'm doing this because I'm sending messages for my hands to do that. And look, you can do a lot of things at one time by just sending the message. Electrolytes are a huge part of that. You can't do it without them. Enzymes, you heard me say this earlier. Enzymes are substances that speed up chemical reactions in the body. Now, they can change other nutrients without themselves being changed. We'll go back into enzymes later, but we do have enzymes like digestive enzymes, for instance, super important. And these digestive enzymes make a big difference in the food that we eat and the purpose of the food that we eat. You want to be able to break down the foods because the foods are turned to what? Fuel, and the fuel is converted to what? Energy. Super important. Fiber is next. So I want to talk about fiber because this is a substance that you find in plants. You don't find them in any animals, just plants. So, and even before I say any, there might be people that eat the shell of shrimp, or chitin. They might eat that, but for the most part, on average, they don't eat that part. Lobster shells and stuff, they eat the lobster meat. Well, fiber is a substance that comes from plants, and dietary fiber is the kind that we eat. It's the type of carbohydrate, and you may also see it listed in the food label as a soluble or insoluble fiber. Now, both types have important health benefits. Fiber makes you feel full faster. That's why you will see people that have these big salads, and they'll eat this big salad, and then they'll have a small amount of chicken or a small amount of steak or something, a small amount of shrimps and those kinds of things. Why? Because they filled up on the fiber. Fiber makes you feel fuller faster and stay full longer. And that can also help you to control your weight. So if you are working on losing weight, bringing that down, fill up on your vegetables, fill up on a huge salad. Okay. And then we have also fatty acids, and these fatty acids are a major component of fats that are used by our bodies for energy, and they're also used for tissue development. All of this is super important. Really want to continue with more of this, but I want to also get to another part. Welcome, Geneva. Geneva Douglas is in the house, and she's all the way from Geneva. Put down where you calling in from. She's out the Believe in Riverside. Okay, so we got all that. Now I just wanted to do this. I'm going to go back to Carolyn so she can perhaps, is there anything that you want to say at this time? Because I wanted to share the stage a little bit. I know everybody's been hearing my voice. If there's anything, do we have any
comments?
Yes.
Well, there was one question, and Andre saying that he has to go to prepare lunch. But if he's still here, he did ask a question, or if not, he can always come back to the replays. But the question was, what food should you not eat during depression or hard times? So that was one of the questions that was put in the chat.
Oh, great. And I want to welcome Cinder K. Allen Kimball. Congratulations. This is she's married now. I've known her a long time, so congratulations on your new move, Cinder. Lots of love to you. We've known each other forever, and it's great to see you. We even have Yolanda Rogers is in the house. Thank you for being here. Yolanda, Big Mama, also known as Big Mama. A great job she's doing with her health. I'm really, really proud. and we're going to hear from her, I'm sure, one of these days when she comes up and want to share. We also have Ron OJ in the house from Detroit, Michigan. Wow, this is really, really wonderful. The Sinks House of Design. I think you brought us a lot of fortune today. Thank you. So, yeah, welcome everybody. Hey, Ron, love you, man. I'm glad that you're here. This is so great. And I'm so proud of my little brother, Andre, man, it's so great to see you. You're doing your thing, man. You're out there volunteering. He's working now with some more brothers at the Volunteers of America, and they're giving away the food and all the things I was talking about as far as the food bank is concerned. I want to go over a couple of things with you so you would know this as we go. We're right at 9 a.m. now. I'm going to see if I can squeeze in just a few more things, and then we're going to let you go, okay? So what? Okay, so we can go. I want this word metabolism is a word that is really abused. So what in the heck is metabolism? Well, metabolism is the process your body uses to get or to make energy from the food that you eat. So everything that we eat, everything that we drink, it is metabolizing. It is breaking down. Now, there's different types of metabolism or different sectors of metabolism. Is catabolism, and then you have catabolism. What is that? This is the same thing. It's like when you breaking down. It's that period when you breaking down food to become energy. Okay, and this is really, really important. And metabolic. You will hear metabolic. That is super, super important when you hear metabolic, because they're just referring to those things that are breaking down. So when you hear people say, yeah, and my metabolism, they say it's slow, and I'm gaining too much weight, and I need to do this and that for metabolism. Listen to that. Metabolism is the process that your body, whether or not you're exercising, you're still going to metabolize. Anabolism is when anabolic, as opposed to metabolic, is when you're building muscle. So when you see guys that got the big muscles and they've been working hard in the gym, what's important to them is anabolism, and that is the synthesization of muscle tissue. Let's move on I want to talk about the different types of fat, okay, or fatty acids. This is really important. I'll start off with monounsaturated fat. These are the different. Now, this is really, write these things down. I did a whole thing with the different smoking points. Smoking points of oil is simply when the oil starts to burn. That's the smoking point. Now, some people, oils can take more heat before it starts to burn. And that's why you have so many people using peanut oil when they're doing deep frying out there when you're eating street foods. We have the Sweetest Pea that's joined us. Yes, we have Sweet Pea is in the house. Thank you so much for being here. Yeah. All the wonderful, brilliant people that I see coming through. Thank you so much. Make sure you share, and we're going to share all the way up to the last second. Let's get back to the monounsaturated. What does that mean? Monounsaturated fat is the type of fat that is found in avocados, canola oil, nuts, olives, olive oil, and seeds. So when you're eating like those seeds, name the seeds, whatever kind of seeds that you're eating, you're also getting the monounsaturated fat. And eating food that has more monounsaturated fats or more healthy fat instead of saturated fat like butter and lard, they may help to lower your cholesterol and help to reduce heart disease risk. However, monounsaturated fat has the same number of calories as other types of fat and may contribute to your weight gain if you eat too much of it. So when you are eating fat, don't go in there and drinking a cup of fat because you're like, oh, I'm really going to get in shape. Remember, you got to stay in balance. When you overdo it, that's the big thing. When you overdo it, you don't give yourself the correct balance. Okay, let's move. I want to go to another one, polyunsaturated fat. Now, polyunsaturated fat is the type of fat that's liquid at room temperature. So if it's about 74 in your house, 76, and it's not, and that is still solid, then guess what? That is most likely saturated fat. Okay, saturated fat. So more hydrogen. You've seen probably partially hydrogenated oil. That is usually when they take fat, and then the scientists, when I say they, I'm talking about the scientists in this. Sometimes, people say they. I always say you can get a PhD in they, because we use it so much, and then they do this and they do that. So I'm talking about scientists right now, and these scientists are food scientists, and they make it possible for us to get food in all the different ways that we consume it. So polyunsaturated fat is a type of fat that stays liquid at room temperature. Now, there are two types of polyunsaturated fats. They also call PUFAs, polyunsaturated fatty acids. Now, we have the omega fat, and we have omega-6, and we have omega-3. Omega-6 fatty acids are found in liquid vegetable oil, such as corn oil and safflower oil, and also soybean oil. Remember, that's the omega-6. Now, when you go to the one that's really rare, and a lot of people are really deficient of this oil, omega-3, which is the fatty oils that come from plant sources, including canola oil, including flaxseed and soybean oil, and walnuts, which is my favorite source, along with some of the fish and the shellfish. People actually eat that as a source of omega-3, but remember, you can get this from plants. You can get your your omega-6s and your omega-3s through plants. You see, you don't have to risk it. Now, let me underline this. I want to go through this because I hear people saying this, especially the professionals, and not really explaining it to my liking. So I'm going to do it. And this is what I have to share with you. Linoleic, linolenic, and oleic acids. So that's what I'm about to talk about. These are different types of acid. See your skin. Carolyn, get up here and show everybody your skin. Let's see if we can get you up here. Okay, now if you look at Carolyn's skin, look at that beautiful skin. She don't like me doing this, I guess, but she's beautiful. So it looks at that beautiful skin along with that melanin. And guess what? When you're eating the right kind of oils, thank you, Carolyn. If you're eating the right kind of oils, you will get that kind of that soft skin, you see, and your hair, your a lot of things that we get is from not having the right oils, including that like when the neck starts to hang down there and is very loose. First of all, you want to put some oil on that neck because that's thin skin there, and it doesn't have as much oil as your face. But let's move on to the point. The point is, make sure that we know the use and usages of linoleic, and oleic acid. A major contributor to cardiovascular disease is a diet that is high in saturated fatty acids. Like all that, if you're still cooking with that oil that is in the supermarket that you can see through, I won't even say all the names because they'll sue you in a second here in LA for damn near anything. We're number one in United States for suits. We got every kind of suit you can name. So I won't say that. I'll be smart with it. But know that there are many oils, especially most of the oils in your supermarket are heat extrapolated, and we use those. But the replacement for those are the replacement for the saturated fatty acids with mono or the polyunsaturated fatty acids. Remember, they may improve that blood lipid profile, and that means the fat in the blood. It helps to decrease the markers for cardiovascular disease and improve insulin responses in insulin resistant or type 2 diabetic patients. So the type of dietary fatty acids should be critical consideration in the elevation of the information that we need to stay healthy, and also be healthy of those, or we want to stay away from the fatty and saturated foods. There, got caught up on some notes there, but there you have it. So the oleic, linoleic, and linolenic acids are unsaturated fatty acids with 1, 2, or 3, or even 1, 2, or 3 double bonds. Now, when we talk about single bonds and double bonds and triple bonds, I'll probably get you distracted, but they will at one time, we'll just go over these things. And for those of you that are more familiar with chemistry, that would be a good time to do it. I think right now would probably be overkill. And that isn't to say, that you're not smart enough to understand it. I just think there's a time and place for everything. I wanted to explain to you before we get out of here, protein, because this is also misunderstood. Most people, when you say, what is protein? Where does it come from? Where are most people going to say? They're going to say it comes from animal, right? So protein does not just come from animals. Protein is in every living cell in the body. Your body needs protein from the foods that we eat, and that they also help to build bones and muscle and skin. And you get proteins in your you get proteins in your diet from the meat that you eat, some dairies that you eat, but you also get them from the nuts and the grains and the beans. And remember, these animals, when you get protein from them, where are they getting their protein from? And since most of us don't eat these wild animals like a lion or a puma or rhinoceros, we don't, or alligator. Some people eat those things, but most of us, we eat animals that eat plants. And from those plants, they get like pulses. Now, pulses are these foods that really pack a nutritional punch with meaningful levels of the important minerals, potassium, magnesium, folate, iron, and all of these that are often a short supply in our diets. Though you can buy them dried, and the speed of cooking, like in the Instant Pot, canned beans can make eating foods like quite easy and very convenient. One of the beauties of plant proteins like canned beans is that you don't have to do much to prep them. So you can do things to make sure that you're getting all of your goodies through the foods that you buy, and make it easy on yourself so you don't have to do all the soaking and stuff. So some good things you can do there. Look, I'm going to stop right now. We'll talk about the nuts and the seeds and the grains and stuff at a later time. We're going to get closer and closer to the hour. It's just 13 after the hour right now. And we're going to end right now. And thank you very much, everybody. And in summation, all I just want to say is that, when it comes to eating, stop eating like a slave. Stop eating like, you get out of survival mode. As you get out of survival mode, you will find that your body feels better. You'll have regulated bowel movements. You won't have so much gas. You will also have your skin, and you have to take care of your skin, not just be born. Some of us are just born with it. And that's good for those people that are born with it. But when you take care of yourself, when you show the love by making the selections and of food that will not hinder you, but to help you. Now, I'm saying this because some of us may right now be dealing with some kind of disease or some of us may be dealing with some kind of illness. And let me tell you, if you assert the kind of courage, if you assert the kind of confidence that you need to like eat the right foods, like if you still just eating in a eating out of a restaurant, if you're just eating out of the box, a big box of Captain Crunch, and you walking through the house, pouring milk in it, stop that stuff, because you're killing yourself. Learn how, you killing yourself is going so slow that it feels like you're not doing it. But when you make start eating more of the vegetables, get those vegetables, your large meal in the middle of the day, your smallest meal at the end of the day, and start your day off with something fresh, like water, like your fruit, exercise, breathing, a big hug from a loved one. That's how you start off with it. And that's how we keep ourselves healthy, okay? Thank you so much for being here, everybody. We're not slaves, and we are not going to act like slaves. And thank you for being here to show your support. Really appreciate you. And we want to send our love out from the Mind of Nature. Carolyn?
Absolutely. Thank you to everyone that joined us today here in the Mind of Nature. Our mission is to bring awareness, listen to your feedback, and now it's time for you to take action. Remember, the closer you are to nature, the healthier you will be. Thank you all so much for joining us, and please don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. And you can even share this live when it's already done with someone that needs to hear this.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you, Carolyn. Thank you for being here, being up, being ready, and always being super supportive. Thank you. And thank you to the entire Gentle family for all your support, and all my loved ones that have shown up today. Amira, I love you, and we will talk to you later. Saints House of Design, love you. Everybody take care. Eclipse, and all the wonderful people from Detroit, from Cincinnati, New York, Maui, Indianapolis. Yeah, we got everybody. Let's I'm thankful. Talk to you later. Peace.